reading out some part of from the slide, so you can also read it. Vision is our dominant sense. Some 70% of all the sensory receptors in the body are in the eyes, and nearly half of the cerebral cortex is involved in some aspect of visual processing. So, so you can understand how important this sensory organ is. 70% of all the sense receptors in the body are in the eyes, and nearly half of the cerebral cortex is involved in some aspects of visual processing. Well, to have some idea regarding its size, the adult eye is a sphere-like body with a diameter of about 2.5 centimeter. The anterior one-sixth of the eye surface is visible. The rest is enclosed and protected by a cushion of fat and the walls of bony orbit. The fat pad occupies nearly all of the orbit not occupied by the eye itself. The eye is a complex structure, and only a small portion of its tissues are actually involved in photoreception. So we'll talk about it today. We will not talk about this photoreception. We'll mainly discuss about the anatomy of eye uh, and some diseases that occur related with some structure of the eyes. So with this, in this slide, we can see some external parts of the eye, uh, like uh, eyebrows. So accessory structures of the eye. These are called accessory structures of the eye, but they have very important function. Not only beautifying the face, but they have some function like eyebrows. Eyebrows are short, coarse hairs that overlay the supraorbital margins of the skull. Now they help shade the eyes from sunlight and prevent perspiration trickling down the forehead uh, from reaching the eyes. So they don't allow that perspiration or sweat to actually come reach the eye. They don't allow this. So this is one of the important function. And eyelids. So anteriorly, the eyes are protected by the mobile eyelids. The eyelids are separated by palpebral fissure. So eyelid slit, we see in the picture of it here. So this is a palpebral fissure. So this is the eyelid. These are two eyelids, uh, and they actually protect the anterior part of the eye. So now, now uh, uh, these eyelids, apart from is protecting the anterior part, another important function they actually serve, uh, like several types of glands are associated with the eyelids. Okay, you can see over here. So this is the, you know, uh, eye, eyelid, and in the eyelid, this is the gap. This gap is called, it is called conjunctival sac. So later we'll talk about this conjunctivitis, conjunctiva, and conjunctival sac. But above this sac, this is the eyelid, and here you can see that it denotes tarsal glands or maybe meibomian scent. So meibomian's glands. These glands are very important for protecting the surface of the eyes because they release some fatty secretions, and these secretion actually they cross the surface of the uh, eye surface, actually they give a fatty layer uh, on the surface of the eye so that the eyes doesn't get dried. The solvent or water doesn't get evaporated easily. So this provides kind of greasy layer on the surface of the eye. Okay, so uh, 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 here they are all through the eyelid. Okay, so their openings are here. Okay, and inner upper eyelid also. So I think it will be clear over here. Yes, these are the glands. Okay, present in the upper and lower eyelid, and their openings you can see. So they just open over here. These glands present in the lower eyelid, they open over here, anterior margin of the lid, uh, and so lids, and so all throughout you can find the glands and their secretions. And if these secretions are somehow, or the mouths of the glands are somehow blocked or inflamed by bacteria, then you can see this kind of swelling. This is called calagiums or meibomian or tarsal cyst. Okay, so this offers is not over here, but it is deep inside the gland. Somewhere in these glands, if it get inflamed, so it gets swelled over here. So so and we can also find this kinds of style. If the just mouth of the gland is affected, so almost all of us have experienced this kind of style. This is external style. You can see from outside. This is internal style. So these are related with the glands uh, of the eyelids, present in the eyelids, right? So it is over. So this is very important. So meibomian or tarsal glands. Okay. Now next important layer that protects the external part of the eye is conjunctiva. And this conjunctivitis is actually the infection of this conjunctiva. Now, the conjunctiva is a transparent mucous membrane. It lines the eyelids as a palpebral conjunctiva and reflects, folds back. So that I talked about, right? This is the surface of the conjunctiva and it folds back in the eyelid. Can you understand this? So this folding causes the conjunctival sac. Okay, so it starts from here, the inner surface of the eyelid, and it covers up the surface of the eye, and then again it continues to the inner surface of the upper eyelid. So this is the conjunctiva. So conjunctiva is a transparent mucous membrane. It lines the eyelids as the palpebral conjunctiva and reflects over the or fold back over the anterior surface of the eyeball as the ocular or bulbar conjunctiva. The portion that covers the portion of the conjunctiva that covers the eyeball is called bulbar conjunctiva. The latter covers only the white of the eye, not the cornea. Uh, uh, the ocular conjunctiva is very thin and blood vessels are clearly visible beneath it. Okay? When the eye is closed, slit-like space occurs between the conjunctiva covered eyeball and eyelids, and this is called uh, conjunctival sac. Okay, I think it is up to this. It is clear, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's go to another important part of the external, another important gland. This is lacrimal gland. So lacrimal apparatus contains the lacrimal gland as well as some other things. So lacrimal apparatus. The lacrimal apparatus. Okay. So lacrimal. So it is here. It means is consists of lacrimal gland and the ducts that drain excess lacrimal secretions into the nasal cavity. Okay, so I'm just uh, showing this over here in this slide. So the lacrimal gland is situated over here, and you can see the ducts of the lacrimal gland. So it is just opening in the upper part of the eyelid, uh, rather internal side of the upper eyelid, surface of the upper eyelid, and then this lacrimal secretion, they just cross across the eyeball and they then get drained to this lacrimal sac and lacrimal punctum and lacrimal canal over here. So lacrimal canals to lacrimal canal, so they get drained into lacrimal sac and then it reaches the nasal cavity. Okay, and if it is uh, produced, I mean, uh, uh, in excess amount, so which cannot pass through this lacrimal canal, then they spill over as tears. Okay, so during some emotions or any kind of inflammation, if excess lacrimal secretion occurs, then it just spill off. Otherwise, continuously it is getting secreted. Actually, it is very protective. Continuously, it is washing our eye surface, and you will see that these lacrimal secretions are not only water or and saline. It contains so many important things like this. Uh, it contains okay, well, we'll find over here these tears. The superior part, it this contains, yes, the lacrimal fluid contains mucus, antibodies, and lysozyme. This lysozyme, it is an enzyme that destroys bacteria. So any kind of bacteria. So it is exposed area, right? So from the environment, from the air, so any bacteria can come and drop on the eye surface and can infect our eye. But as because these lysozymes and are there, they break the actually cell wall of the bacteria and destroys the bacteria. And on top of it, these antibodies are there. They also neutralize those pathogens, bacteria, virus, fungi, whatever. So, in addition to washing off the dirt, They also protect the eye from this infection, pathogenic infection. So thus it cleanses and protects the eye surface as it moistens and lubricates. Okay. So when lacrimal secretion is increases substantially, tears spill over. So this is what about lacrimal gland. Now, structure of eye. So gradually we are entering to the actual part of the eye. Eyeball. Now here, structure of the eyeball. The eye itself, commonly called the eyeball, is slightly irregular, hollow sphere. Because the eyeball is shaped roughly like the globe of the earth, it is said to have poles. So it has anterior pole, it has posterior pole, uh, something like this, anterior and posterior. Oh, sorry. Uh, okay. Then this tunics, different layers of eyeball, wall of the eyeball, they're called tunic. The outermost layer is called fibrous tunic. It is also called the sclera. Now the fibrous tunic, the outermost coat of the eye, the fibrous tunic is composed of dense avascular connective tissue. Uh, Lot of, you can see collagen fibers over there, and it is very tough cover. It has two obviously different regions, the sclera and cornea. Okay, sclera actually converts into cornea when it moves anteriorly. We will look into that. So sclera and cornea. So both are the part of fibrous tunic. So the sclera forming the posterior portion and the bulk of the fibrous tunic is glistening white and opaque. That's why the eyeball is white, looks white. Seen anteriorly as the white of the eye, the tough tendon-like sclera protects and shapes the eyeball and provides a sturdy anchoring site for the extrinsic eye muscles. So all the eye muscles are actually anchored in this layer, and they help the movement of the eyeball. Okay. Now, how the cornea is actually, how the sclera converts into cornea. Now, the anterior sixth of the fibrous tunic is modified to form the transparent cornea, okay, which bulges anteriorly from its junction with the sclera. Now, here, so this white part is actually sclera. This is sclera. So through which actually it, this optic nerve passes through, and this sclera eventually actually it meets with the dura mater of the brain. Okay? The continues with the dura mater. Okay. Now, from here, this sclera becomes transparent and it becomes the cornea. This is the cornea. Well, now the cornea is well supplied with nerve endings, and most of which are pain receptors. This cornea. That is why it is so anything drops on it or any kind of injury gives you so pain. Cornea is well supplied with nerve endings, most of which are pain receptors. For this reason, some people can never adjust to wearing contact lenses because contact lenses are placed over the cornea. When the cornea is touched, uh, blinking and increased tearing occur reflexively. Even so, the cornea is most exposed part of the eye and is very vulnerable to damage from dust, silvers, and the like. So, luckily, its capacity for regeneration and repair is extraordinary. So, therefore, uh, we can realize that it is being repaired. Okay. Now, the vascular tuning. So, we talked about the fibrous tunic. Now we'll talk about the vascular tunic. It is also called choroid. Now, vascular tunic or middle coat of the eyeball is also called uvea. Okay. The pigmented uvea has three regions: the choroid, ciliary body, and iris. Again, like mm, you know this sclera, this choroid actually it gets converted into a ciliary body and iris in the anterior part of the eyeball. Now, choroid is highly vascular. This is highly vascular layer, and it's dark brown membrane, uh, and that forms the posterior 5/6 of the uvea. Okay, so uvea altogether we call it uvea. Uh, uh, and it could be divided into choroid and iris. This is choroid, and this is ciliary body and iris. Ciliary body to which the lens is attached, right? Uh, and iris. Uh, this gives the aperture of the eyeball. So and now it's brown pigment produced by melanocytes helps absorb light, preventing it from scattering and reflecting within the eye. Okay. Now, if you look into this picture, now this is actually this you can you see this brown layer. Okay, this is the brown layer. So this is a brown layer. This is your choroid, highly vascular, and then it is moving, and anteriorly, uh, it actually thickens up to give the ciliary bodies, and further moves to give rise this iris over the lens. Okay, so this is all about our choroid or uvea. Okay, and next, uh, uh, okay, as we said that the ciliary bodies consist chiefly of intercalating smooth muscle bundles called ciliary muscles, which are important in controlling lens shape. Okay, so this it is attached to the lens, and they actually control the lens shape according to the requirements. And then this which contains the it also contains the capillaries that secrete the fluid. Uh, just a sec. Okay. So this ligaments are also called zoniole. Okay, and this extends from the ciliary processes to the lens. Again, so this is distance from here, surface of the ciliary bodies, actually goes up to the lens. Okay, and then uh, uh, then it extends further to give rise iris. This iris actually the visible colored part of the eye, and so this is the iris which we can see. So this is the extension of what? Hello, extension of
So choroid.
right? Yes. After choroid, uh, it becomes it thickens up and uh, okay, okay. Uh, yes. So this choroid it thickens up. It is called what? Ciliary.
Iris.
No.
Oh, ciliary.
And further when it extends, it gives the iris. So this is the choroid. Then it thickens up ciliary body, and then the iris. This is the three parts of uvula, right? Okay. The uvula, and it is highly vascular. Okay. Uh, then, so are you getting? I'm asking everybody. তোমার বুঝতে মানে ঠিকঠাক আছে তো সব?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think it is interesting to know. Okay. Now we'll talk about the chambers present in the eyes and the fluids or cellular substance it is filled up with, and we also talk about a very important disease of the eye, glaucoma, how it occurs. Okay. Uh, so now internal chambers and fluids. The lens and its halo-like suspensory ligament divide the eye into two segments, right? You see the lens. So behind the lens, there is one chamber, big chamber, and before or in front of the lens, anteriorly, there is another chamber. Okay, so the lens actually divides it into two halves, though not equal, unequal halves. Okay. Now, so the lens and its halo-like suspensory ligaments divide the eye into two segments: the anterior segment in front of the eye lens and the larger posterior segment behind. The posterior segment or cavity is filled with clear gel called vitreous humor that binds tremendous amounts of water. Vitreous humor, number one, transmits light, supports the posterior surface of the lens, and holds the neural retina firmly against the pigmented layer. So, so far we have not talked about retina. So let's briefly talk about the retina. So we'll learn the retina in detail. So this is your forehead, And the next layer after the choroid is retina. This yellow layer. This is the retina. Okay. This is the retina is the most sensitive neural layer where the rods and cone cells lie. Okay. So this is the important layer, neural layer, for which actually we can see. So uh, so this is the retina, and this vitreous humor, you know, it presses the retina. So against is it's there is a pigmented layer uh, between this choroid and this retina. Actually, this pigmented layer, cell layer, is the part of retina, uh, and this vitreous humor, it actually uh, 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 holds the neural retina firmly against the pigmented layer of retina. Now, it also contributes to intraocular pressure, helping to counteract the pulling force of the extrinsic eye muscle. Okay? So it nullifies the extrinsic pulling force of the extrinsic eye muscle. Okay, next. Now the anterior segment. The anterior segment is partially subdivided by the iris into anterior chamber, and so between the cornea and the iris, and the posterior chamber between the iris and the lens. Okay, so anterior chamber and posterior chamber, so of the anterior cavity. So what does it mean? So you see, there is one chamber over here between the iris and the lens. You can see the thin gap between this, and another chamber is over here between iris and the cornea. This is the chamber, one chamber, and this is another chamber. So we are talking about these two chambers. So the anterior segment, the cavity, partially subdivided. Because why it is subdivided? Because it is connected through iris. These two chambers are connected through iris. This is important. I'll tell why. Uh, so this anterior segment is partially divided uh, 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 between no it subdivides the anterior segment into anterior chamber between the cornea and the iris. You can understand, cornea and iris. This is the anterior, the bigger one, and the posterior chamber between the iris and the lens. Okay. The anterior segment is filled up with aqueous humor, a clear fluid similar in composition to blood plasma. Unlike the vitreous humor, which forms in the embryo and lasts for lifetime, aqueous humor forms and drains continually. This is very important. And this aqueous humor, okay, continuously, which is present in the anterior segment, anterior cavity. It forms continuously, and it also drains continually, and is the constant